Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Allison, as Colleen mentioned. I work for the Navy, so I work for the federal government supporting the Department of Defense, and I work on naval-related systems. So Navy, Navy has a lot of ships. We have about 200 ships, 200 plus ships right now, and every single ship is like a little city. So our command is called Naval Surface Warfare Center. We're located in Philadelphia. We have about 2,700 employees, engineers, scientists, technicians, programmatic support, logisticians. We employ a lot of different disciplines to support our functionality in the supporting the Department of Defense and the Navy. We do research and development, test and evaluation, acquisition support. So that means whenever the Navy buys something, we're responsible for working with vendors and other external organizations to make sure that the things that they buy are engineeringly sound and technically sound. And we do a lot of in-service support. So what does that mean? In-service support means that any single time a Navy ship has an issue with some of their pieces of equipment or operating some of their equipment, our employees work to help them. So whether that be like something broke or they don't know how to work it, they call us to help them fix it. So it's pretty cool because, the Navy has a lot of ships in a lot of different places. So a lot of our people travel a lot. So I do a lot of traveling, and I'll go over kind of my career history. But yeah, so we do a lot of in-service support. So our organization is also the lead for providing cybersecurity in the whole country. So what that means is that we are the point people for any cybersecurity issues on a ship. So just kind of like a computer, we have tons of computers all over our ships. They need to talk to people. They need to understand what they're seeing in the ocean, whether it's a submarine trying to detect something that's floating around in the ocean, or it's a naval ship trying to detect an oncoming missile. All that uses, internet-like capabilities and technologies. So we need to ensure that they're cyber secure. So my current position is I'm a cybersecurity manager. So I manage the portfolio of our cybersecurity for our command, which means that our command supports a lot of different small pieces of equipment. They start with like valves to refrigeration units to like missile launchers. So I'm responsible for ensuring all of those systems are cyber secure and cyber hardened. What my day-to-day job is kind of more like program management. So I'm an engineer, but I do a lot of managing the engineering work that goes on. I've been in this position for about 4 months now. So I started at the Navy about 10 years ago after I graduated from college. As I previously mentioned, we do a lot of traveling. So when I first started, I supported missile launchers on destroyers and CGs. So that means that those two ships are the ships that go out and shoot missiles. So I was responsible for making sure that the launchers were able to support those missile shoots. So I got to watch a lot of missiles being shot off and got to do a lot of testing. So my history is a mechanical engineer. My background is a mechanical engineer. So that's kind of why I came into the group and focused more on mechanical components of the missile launcher. So I worked that job for about 7 years, and I did a lot of traveling. So I got to see all sorts of places. I went to Japan. I went to, Hawaii a lot, San Diego, Florida, Mississippi, Washington State, and Virginia. Those are the most frequent places I used to travel to do all sorts of support. So making sure that we're certifying them so that they're good to use, so that when they have to go out and meet their mission, they are mission ready. So one of the talking points, so after that, I started my transition into more management of those engineering projects. So that's what I kind of like about engineering, and what I like about our company is that you can get in and be an engineer and work on extremely technical things, but then you can transition into more managing those things instead of getting day to day, like all the heavy math equations and kind of figuring out all those mechanics. You can kind of manage those. So that's what I like about our job and our company. So there's a really nice transition and a place for everyone, which I really like. So discuss the educational requirement. Okay, so as I said, for our job, we do hire a lot of different disciplines. So you can be an engineer, you can come in as a technician, which means that you can go to a certification course and get a certification and come on without any college background. If you're it's kind of similar to like if you were to go to an apprenticeship and get like a mechanics certification, you can kind of come on board and use that to be what we call like a mechanical technician. We have a lot of scientists, so we have a lot of chemists. They have to do a lot of analyzation of some of the materials that we use on the ships to make sure that when they're in the water for so long that they can sustain themselves and they don't like get disintegrated by like salt water, stuff like that. So for me, I went to college at Villanova and I went for mechanical engineering. So something that I would say if you guys are thinking about becoming an engineer, which I encourage everyone to because engineering is awesome, is engineering is really hard. It's very hard in college, but if you like doing puzzles and you like figuring things out, that's really what a mechanical and what engineers do. I have friends who I went to college with who have all different types of jobs that aren't traditional engineering jobs, that a lot of companies hire engineers to like quote unquote figure things out. So we're puzzle solvers and problem fixers, and that's what I would consider myself and my job, and that's what I kind of transition to now. It's just kind of figuring out problems and taking challenges and finding unique solutions to solve them. So as I said, I went to school for mechanical engineering. I got into that because when I was in high school, I actually went to Magnet High School. So I started getting into math and science there, and I really liked that. And I thought, well, math and science, I could become like an accountant or something with numbers. But I decided to do engineering because I felt like it would just afford me more opportunities in the future to do a lot of different things. So as I said, I have a bunch of friends who went to school for engineering, but ended up becoming financial managers at like JP Morgan and BlackRock and stuff like that, managing portfolios. So once you get into engineering, it's really kind of like the world is your oyster. You can do a lot with it. I have friends that went to law school, which is, completely different from engineering undergrad. So when I was in high school, I was pretty involved in sports, but when I got to college, I got extremely involved in like Society of Women Engineering and a lot of volunteering. So anytime you see those kinds of opportunities, I suggest you jump on them. I found that especially when you get into college, the more involved you get, or high school, the more involved you get, the better off you'd be, because I think that when you get involved in clubs and get involved in like volunteering and stuff like that, or other activities, you do get a really good chance to sharpen up your interpersonal skills, and those soft skills are really going to take you a long way when you go through college and then get out into the working world. So I highly encourage you to join any sort of activities that you can. I did a little bit of robotics when I was in college. Right now, I'm a mentor for what Philadelphia is involved in. And Philadelphia has a big sea perch organization. So if you can see those kinds of activities, like maybe like Girls Who Code, I do a lot of helping with Girls Who Code. If there's one around you, you can Google it. Those are really cool activities, or anything that you can get into now to help understand like coding in the world of engineering would really give you a leg up when you're trying to understand and go to formal classes for those things, whether it be in high school or in college. So starting early is very helpful. What recommendations do you have for students who might want to go into your chosen career field? So I would say that if you would want to go into engineering, you should definitely be up for a challenge. And people don't think that engineers are very creative, but that is what I think is like the crux of engineering, is kind of figuring out solutions in a unique way and making, and then putting them into plans and actions. So if you like puzzles, if you like math, if you like problem solving, I would say that engineering would be a good candidate. You would be a good candidate for being an engineer. But I will mention that it is hard, but it is worth it. So you get into college and there's a lot of classes, a lot of lab work that you have to do. And it's really tough to balance and manage. But I would definitely say that getting through that and then going to work for the Navy was probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. And it really afforded me a lot of opportunities that I would have never had before. Like I was able to, get my master's degree paid for. So the Navy paid for my master's degree, and I got to work and take classes online at night. So I have a master's degree, and I'm working on my second master's degree now, all paid for. And I got to travel the world, all paid for by the Navy. So it was pretty cool experiences that I never would have been able to do if I didn't join the Navy and join our command supporting the Navy. And I truly, truly think it was a really great experience. So I'd recommend it. But that being said, when you're going through, if you decide to go through engineering, I highly recommend getting involved in some sort of extracurricular activities or any extra clubs that you can join, because those, I think, really help you build a good foundation and some good friends and support system to get through it, because it's very challenging but very rewarding.